Welcome, guys and gals, to the Barry Charles Footy Show. Yes, the big game is on this weekend. Kangaroos versus Samoa. We're going to get through it, and obviously the big shock out of the selections is Stephen Crichton at number 6. Is he the next Luai? Is this a potential place he could play for the Bulldogs? Let's get to it right here, right now at Barry Charles Footy Show. Let's go through the lineups and then let's discuss the footy. Yes, the Kangaroos have selected a very strong team. Obviously, Valentine Holmes can't play this week, but surprisingly, he's in the 21 because he can't even play anyway, so there's no point him being in the 21. But getting to the team, Tedesco at fullback. Some people would argue, should it be Dylan Edwards? Should it be Reece Walsh? Should it be Kalen Ponga? I think it should be someone else. But anyway, he's best mates with Mal Meninga and the likes. I would be stunned if James Tedesco is the fullback next year. But let's get to it. James Tedesco, fullback. Dylan Edwards gets his debut on the wing. Good on him. Congratulations. Whether he can play wing is going to be another story. But it's he's going to have a field day against Brian Toho, who should be his opposite winger. Who knows? They might change around. Who knows? But he does have Hammer Tabawai Fado next to him. So he's ready to rock and roll in the Australian jumper after a great series in Kentucky Stags. So it's a fresh new backline, the whole lot of them. So very fresh in the backline, and with Kentucky Stags. So Salmon Combo. So a lot of players on debut here in the backline. So it's going to be interesting how they go. Cameron Munster at 6, DCE at 7. They keep continuing to get picked. Good on them. Obviously, Nathan Cleary is out. But is DCE the second best player in the game in the halfback position? That's probably a little bit debatable. Yes, at his best. But again, if no one else isn't really knocking down the door, that's the thing here. But you could say Ben Hunt maybe could play there, but then again, it's not like he's outstanding at hit a DCE at all. So no one's really banging down the door. The only one banging down the door when not even playing himself, is Sean Johnson. But that's the Kiwi side of things. But he would be the only one who would be above DCE in my eye on last year anyway. But this season. But Payne Haas is the prop with Tino. So they're the two props here with Ben Hunt at 9. Cameron Murray and Liam Martin, Isaiah, no surprises there. Even though you could argue Patrick Kerrigan could be there. And Ruben Cotter, they're both on the bench with Lindsay Collins and Harry Grant. So no Flegler, even though I thought he was outstanding. But he'll get a game in the next one, I'm sure. And where does Valentine Holmes go? Katoni Staggs falls away. It's going to be an interesting one. Or does Dylan Edwards fall out and Valentine Holmes just goes to the wing? It's going to be an interesting selection headache there for Coach Mal Meninga. That's probably the only really one outside of that. Otherwise, everyone else is pretty much going to be playing football. Nico Hines, where does he fit in for the next game? Because there's only 3 games. It's a bit hard to really do mix and matching, but I'm sure they give everyone a game. So that'll be and just rest a few players for the big game. So there is a chance to rest a few players with the squads they got, because Nico Hines can go into the halves. So whether DCE has a break, I'm not sure what they're going to do there. But that's the options for the Kangaroos. But let's look at the Samoa team. Yes, Samoa. Can they do it? Toa Samoa. Absolutely up against it, no doubt about it. But anyway, we got Sua Falogo. Can he live up to the family things? No Joseph Suali'i, which was an interesting call. But I guess they're looking at the future, because Joseph Suali'i's not going to be there next year. Whether he pulled out, I'm not sure. Murray Talagi making the exit from Australia to Samoa. Well, that's obviously a big debating point at the moment. Should this even be allowed to happen? If you play for Australia one year and then straight back to Samoa the next year, you just want to play in the World Cup and win a title, I don't think it should work that way. I think it's really, really not my cup of tea that you can play for Queensland or New South Wales and then you can play for I'll reword what I was just going to say there. But if you play for New South Wales and Queensland, you should have to play for Australia first. If Australia pick you, you play for Australia. If not, then you can play for the other teams. Don't get it twisted. because what I'm seeing at New South Wales level, you got Brian To'o, Jerome Luai, Crichton. Out of those three players, don't get me wrong, they'll be passionate about, but they just don't. I don't think they have enough passion for New South Wales. Crichton seemed to play well; he was well, but to me, Jerome Luai was a bit lost, and Brian To'o, well, he just does his thing. But to me, those players, do they really want to? Because clearly To'o, well, all three of them are not playing for Australia, and that's the question mark on the validity of this game. If they're allowed to play for Samoa, you might as well have, back in the day, but I'm like, you could have Sean Johnson playing, for instance. You could have Roger Tuivasa-Sheck playing. I mean, where does it stop? Really, it's coming at debacle again. It always seems to be. It's like, yeah, you're not good enough for Australia, or let's go play for Samoa. I like this emergence of the game, but I really just don't like them picking and choosing who they play for one year to the next. It's just, to me, it's just a little bit crazy. Nothing to do with I understand that some want to play for their mother and then their father's country. I understand that sort of level, but I think maybe you have to sit out a year. I don't know how to make it work. I just think, to me, if they want to keep with this top tier nation thing, if you're eligible for the top tier, you go there first. If you don't get picked, go away. Otherwise, as simple as this, you pick one or the other. You pick Australia or Samoa or Tonga, whoever it is, New Zealand. You pick their one and you stick with it, and that's it. Some people don't like that approach, but I just, it's a bit of a interesting one to go forward, how that's all going to play out. But back to this team, Isaac Togo and young Tom Mapia gets the nod here, and Brian To'o. So no room for Greg Marju, but that's not a surprise. Stephen Crichton at 6 with Dejan Arce. We're going to see how that plays out. I think that's the Achilles heel of this team. Stefano and Junior Polo, the starting props. Gordon Chan Kam Tong. Does anyone know this player? Luciana Leilua, Connolly Limelu, Kenan Palasal. I'm butchering these names, sorry. Spencer Linu, Terrell May, Helam Luki, and Ronald Volkman can get a start for Samoa, but not for the Warriors. Interesting. But anywho, this is an interesting squad. If we put the two squads next to each other, how does it work? Tedesco against Falogo, there is no competition there. James Tedesco wins all day. Brian To'o versus Dylan Edwards. Wow, that's going to be a bit of a matchup for me. It's one of the big matchups of this game for mine. Let's see how Dylan Edwards handles that. Young Tonga Pia, I think he's going to have a hard day against Tabawai Fado. That could be where there's a bit of a chink in the armour. And even Isaac Tago and Kotoni Staggs, that should be a good matchup. And Murray Talagi and Selwyn Cobo could be an interesting one. Selwyn Cobo, pretty much Murray Talagi made Australia. That's probably another question. I'm not 100% sure on that one. He may have played at the World Cup last year. Dejan Arce and Cameron Munster, there was just nothing there. But Cameron Munster hasn't had the greatest of seasons, to be honest. So he really will be looking for a bit of improvement there. I mean, he's facing Crichton, obviously. And DC and Arce. Yeah. But yeah, Crichton, it's going to be an interesting one in Crichton. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the best player on the field and they'll lose the game. I just got a funny feeling Crichton seems just to be this big game player that just continues to get better and better and better. And I just hope he doesn't fall by the wayside of the Bulldogs and we forget how good a player he is. I really hope he is good enough to he could be the one player that could turn it around for the Bulldogs, but it really, I don't want him to go backwards like Matt Burton, Josh Adokar, and the likes that have taken the money and run. And that's where Crichton's gone. We'll see if he can turn the Bulldogs around next season. And looking at the history, 2024, they're ready to win the grand final. But I had been pointed out by some people that if you go way back in history in the 4-4s, with the Bulldogs have had wooden spoons, so depending where you read your stats, but there's a chance that the Bulldogs can win the premiership in 2024, if you believe in history. Stefano and Junior Polo, can they take on the likes of Payne Haas and Tino? They actually can. I think it's not a bad matchup there, but Ben Hunt and Gordon can't. There's no different. There's just no talking about the class above Ben Hunters. Cameron Murray, Leo Martin, Isaiah Leilua, Lemieux, and Palacia. They're not bad players, but not. I really do feel this is going to be a smash up for Australia. Spencer Leno now off the bench though. He's a big chance. Spencer Leno, he's pretty good. Who's the him? Lindsay Collins. So that's a bit of an interesting one there. Terrell May and Patrick Carrigan, Helen Luke and Ruben Cotter, and then Ronald Falkman and Harry Grant. Samoa, it's not a bad team, but obviously they're missing for me probably a centre and a halfback, or Jerome Luai pretty much. Yes, so Jerome Luai and Stephen Crichton. So Jerome Luai there would be a lot better team, and obviously a hook is probably another question mark, and fullback as well. But let's don't get it twisted. Kangaroos are going to win this game, and they're going to win 13 plus. I've got no doubt about it. Crichton will do his best. He'll have a whale of a game, but I don't think it's going to be enough. It'll be fireworks early, but I expect the second half the Kangaroos just to run away and win very, very convincingly. But anyway, we'll see. But Crichton's obviously talented. But anyway, time to go. Barry Charles Footy Show. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back with more season reviews of your team next week. Let's get it on.